Right. Lunch is over, and I hope you are filled with a new energy. And I had a nice ramen, but some of them ended up on my shirt. So if you see something here, it's ramen. So let's look into the agenda again. There we go. So we are here at lunch, and now we're at Eiffel at Volvo. So we will try to describe. We received the task to describe a bit about Volvo, what we do, Volvo Group, but also what is happening when it comes to Eiffel at Volvo Group. And we will try our best. But I will start with a company presentation. And this is what I know and from my perspective, and I will try to give you as good picture as possible what I know. And the slides that I have taken is from the main slides for Volvo Group. And this was the second one that was shown. And I guess you can read the text yourself. It's a lot about, for me when I read, I see people, I read people, and it's two persons that seem to love each other here. And that is core for Volvo. That is what we're trying to work towards. Transport solutions, we work with the safety, sustainability, and electrifying stuff. It's for the people's sakes, and we try to keep it in mind all the time, maybe is the word. We can split, I don't know if this is right, but I could say that we can split the company in 4 pieces. We have the construction equipment, we have trucks, we have buses, and then engines for marine and for industrial applications. And as you might see, we also have, they are electrical, that we want to visualize it as well. It's important for us at moments. Maybe it's hard to see the marine, but I guess it is as well. Also, the autonomous solutions we are trying to push more and more. Oh, I want to say one more thing here on this slide. Now I talk about the products, but that's not the core either. It's the transport solution. I think I mentioned it in the last slide. To get one thing from one place to another place. That's what we try to achieve. And the products is one way to do it, but it's the complete transport solution that we aim for. We have multiple brands in our portfolio, and we touch a lot of different markets. It's not known by many, but Volvo is not only Volvo, it's Renault, Nova Bus, a lot of different things. And as you can imagine, we are a global footprint. We're everywhere. 104,000 employees in a lot of different markets. This slide, I want us to focus on the bottom, coming back to how we try to build our company, Volvo Group. We believe that if we have an awesome code of conduct and that we work towards that, work to support each other, work with people, have a good environment, then we will be able to go to the mission and vision that we have. When I see this, I get proud to work in Volvo Group. It's a nice way to work. Johan is smiling, and I guess you're also proud. Innovations, some history. We have a lot of technical deliveries during the years. We started, as we saw there, 1927. A lot of technical solutions. The last ones is the electrical trucks. We have also the Vera. It's there, up there. It's an autonomous solution that we have. But also we want to highlight all the human parts here. The LGBTQ+ network and I think the Paris Agreement. It's not only we talk about being worked with people, we also think that this is a big part of our deliveries. To be some ambitious, we have this 100% safe fossil-free and 100% more productive ambition. And it's to put stress on our, not stress, but put challenge ourselves to, when it comes to the development and technology, to not only be fossil-free, we also want to be 100% more productive when we do it at the same time. I like that vision. So how do we do that? We come back to the transport solution, that we don't only think of the trucks or the buses, we try to look at the complete system around it. So we think of route simulations, finance, everything around it. How can we make this happen? It's a complex system. That was about the company, Volvo Group. Now, what is happening when it comes to Eiffel? I guess it's you're curious about that, both internal Volvo and external. And I will show you this organizational chart about the complete vehicle group. And we have a lot of different sub-organizations. I don't know if that's the correct word, but you understand me. I work in a team in Volvo Truck Technology, which is called Product Metrics, and I will go a bit more deep in there first. That organization is split also into different sub-organizations, and if we look at you can read the titles here, but when it comes to Eiffel, then I would dare to say that it's bubbling in these areas. Not saying that we have it or have implemented it, but it's discussions ongoing, research, and it feels like many are eager to start, but maybe they don't dare or have the mandate to start or priorities to it. And I'm located here, and the presentation coming will also be from the vehicle technology area. We have something at Volvo Group that we call cost, or maybe this is Volvo Truck Technology, I'm not sure. I see someone nodding. But it's the cost, it's a concept that we try to utilize. When we do create an engine or we create a solution, we want to be able to move that around in different products. It should not be just for a single bus or a single truck. We would like to move it around. And that it's both hardware and software. And I would say when we start this Eiffel journey at Volvo, we try to do it this way also. So we don't, coming back to the dialects, that we don't have a dialect for specific organizations that we are in. The big picture, yeah. Before I showed you 5, I think it was 4 different organizations within Group Truck Technology that is bubbling with Eiffel. But we also have Renault Trucks, we have MC buses, and CDO organization. I say IT there. I don't know if that's the right word, but IT. But a lot of bubbling. Not so some more concrete, but the most development is happening here at the moment. Coming back to the agenda, now this was the intro of Volvo and what is happening. The idea was that our colleague Bojan will present this traceability. This is the next topic. And triggering, Anders Holmblad, you will take that one. So, but me and Fredrik, we take the Bojan's part when it comes to triggering. Imagine me as Bojan now, and I will try to change voice. No, it's not his voice. All right. Next topic then. Traceability at Volvo. So what do we use Eiffel for today? And then it's when it comes to traceability. And we here is, we want to define it as it's not complete Volvo Group. This is a part in the vehicle technology. So it's not the complete Volvo Group that are we in this case. We try to visualize our system with this picture. It's a simplification of what we call a vehicle software factory. And I will walk you through this. We have our customers in the top that loves our trucks. From them, we get some kind of value backlog where we try to prioritize what we should do. That comes down to the software development part where we have continuous integration and software in the loop. And after that, we create this software goes into a system rig where we put everything together. And after that, it's go to vehicle testing. And it's a 2-week cadence where we try to test the difference of the software if it's good. And then it moves up to more extended testing and then back to production and custom. But during, I go back to this, the journey in this picture creates a lot of different artifacts, as you can imagine, and a set of different artifacts. And I don't know if it will help you, but I will try to explain the different ones we have. And this is one way to model it. I know that, for example, now I'm in vehicle technology, powertrain has another way to do it. So it's not the same all over. But we have something we call application code commit, there where we have put the functional code for a truck. So it can be a horn or headlights, those kind of functionalities. That repository then is moved up to something that we call an ECU code commit. And ECU is electrical control unit, so it's like PC. It's still a commit, so it's just code, and we see, I don't know, artifact and code source, the words might be wrong, but we see that as a thing, an artifact, that commit. That ECU code commit is then built to ECU build binaries. Those are the files that can be downloaded to the truck. And then a lot of different ECU build binaries is set to something that is called the software configurator baseline. And that's the thing that we can use to download or update the complete truck. And again, the truck is artifact. When it comes to triggering, you Anders, you will talk about this area much more in the CI flow. What I will talk about more is the follow my commit. It's one aim that we have with this traceability that we want to use Eiffel for. And these are questions that we wish to be able to answer with Eiffel later on. We're touching upon some of them, but because we have so many artifacts and different tests, we need to pick which one to start. And I think to start small is the hard part here, that it's a big system already, and how to be smart in starting. Another area that we want to achieve with Eiffel and are working with is the information for not the developers, the one that's trying to improve the process or setting the budget or want to change organizations or set up teams to understand how are we going, where do we have the bottlenecks and those kind of questions with KPIs. And it's quite this topic is really interesting at the moment because we want to use more and more KPIs in the company to take data-driven decisions. And then, if you look at the picture I showed you before, we have this gate that you can see. On those gates, we are aiming to be more and more data-driven. We use data at the moment, but we want to be even better. And I guess we can improve this all the time. But to have a clean traceability to the tests and the decisions and confidence levels in a much more structured way than we have today. Fredrik, I think I hand over to you now on how to do this. How do we do this?
Klar här eller?
Ja.
Okej.
have two slides. I have two slides that I inherited from Bojan. How do we enable Eiffel currently for our sake? Is that we obviously use webhooks for our, based upon our sources, where we primarily publish SEC events, source change created. We have them in Bitbucket, we have them in Jira. Also, we have plugins on Jenkins and Garrett, and that is the topic Anders will in a moment talk about. And we also have small services that have very small tasks on linking events together, which will lead to this image that is our current data model. I don't know, honestly, I don't know that much about the software download or the V5. I have the last half year worked more or less with the upper left corner, where we have, for example, we call it Eiffel SEM submodule composition service, which is a service that I will speak about tomorrow, which task is to actually link the SSEs together, and that is what Magnus mentioned before, but there has been a discussion for years. The intention of that service is obviously to connect our parent repository with its children. That is the main task. We have also other services within our solution. We have a Bitbucket service, an A4J service, Jenkins service, and as you can see up in the right corner, we have the Jenkins broadcaster plugin that Anders knows more about. But what you could see in this model is that we actually have traceability from the Jenkins job back to the SEC event from Bitbucket. Currently, it's not a fully fledged solution yet, of course, but we have started off. We have traceability on a basic level. We need to polish it, of course. And the future of it is to expand to software download. I know we have an initiative now with V5 Concur. I can't speak about that at the moment because I'm not personally involved in that area. So, yeah, to wrap up, that is how we have the model at the moment. So let's finish off this section.
Any questions on that part?
Jag breder upp micken lite för jag har väldigt nära munnen. Andra hållet.
I can say that a lot of the work we have done is on the infrastructure and the systems around it, so we can start to publish and have a system that we trust and that are stable. But now we really see that it's not true. Oh, nice.
Yeah. 1, 2. Okay. Yes. I will talk a little bit about Eiffel event triggering at Volvo, or in our part of Volvo, which is the biggest software factory, as Edvin mentioned. My name is Anders Holmblad, and we work in the same area department. And yeah, so this is, as we have seen, the software factory, and we are in this lower part here, continuous integration, this purpose part. We are reaching further and further to the right to include more and more of the system testing, where we're collaborating with the test teams to extend on this event-based CI non-functional testing. And I'll mention a little bit about the pre-Eiffel background, how it was a long time ago, and why we introduced Eiffel, why we are introducing Eiffel, and a little bit about how we do the triggering. And this is beginner's level, so it will be quite easy, but also a little bit of not code but configuration But so years ago, the use case was more simple. We had source version control server, we had a CI server, and we had some kind of output that was published into binary storage Artifactory. In this case, it was set up, and this was the CI. And it was quite easy to monitor because it was single instance. And so we knew where the source came from, we knew where it was ending up, which was quite a nice life. But then reality, so this is another also simplified version of an existing use case, high level. So we have a supplier providing platform code, some code, and some artifacts externally, which we are syncing and integrity checking, and we're pushing it to different places. And moving the artifacts as well, where different departments have their own instances, which we're collaborating with. Ourselves, we're maintaining 11 instances. And this is not even one of ours that we are collaborating with here. We're doing some uploads to some systems and creating some artifacts, which in turn are triggering some builds where these artifacts are included, and some checks, and they in turn also upload some binaries and some into some other system. And at this point, we haven't even reached a full vehicle. So this is not even a system. So when we add a system, it adds even more complexity. So we realized that we have to solve this monitoring, understanding, control, and and triggering in some other way than what we had relied on before. So then we thought and talked with metrics back and forth with events and journeys, and we thought that we could model this with Eiffel in a good way, because then we would have a single standardized layer to describe everything, which we have talked about also earlier here. So we have some events, and they have different colors. The green ones are related to source, the source change created. The blue ones are related to an activity, the pipeline it could be. I'm repeating what was already said here. The red events are related to artifacts, artifact created, artifact published. Yellow related to test. It's just test suite. Below that is test case, as you have seen in previous presentations, and there are other events. But we're starting to roll out mainly these events. So to compare that then to the previous pictures is that the source is a bit like the activities of pipelines, artifacts generally Artifactory. And if we were to okay, so from this protocol we can also extract some other valuable information, such as which tests did we run, which failed, and where's more information about that, how long time did that take, or how long time did this activity to build this into a binary take? Was it successful? Did it fail? And this is also valuable information, and we touched upon this earlier. And I also want to mention that we have two initiatives that are looking at these statistics that we are starting to work on now, relating to uptime. And one is differences in these times, so that we can see when an activity is taking unusually long time. Maybe if we monitor that and see the deviations, that could give us valuable information, and maybe also sort of different domains. So we're intending to add tagging for the location of where it happened and what the issue was. So that is also something that we're working on. When it comes to reporting failures, to make that easy, the first step that we're doing is to publish an announcement with the failure and collecting and categorizing the issues. I'm not sure if that's the right way, but we want to get started. We want to collect this information and be able to work on this data. That is something we would like to continue discussing with the Eiffel community on what is the best approach. So we want to add the Eiffel protocol to get the standardized layer. And that is the protocol, and that's how it fits together. And then we need to transport it. So the event that we're sending can be sent with a carrier pigeon, as we have mentioned, really. But since the ecosystem supports the Rabbit MQ message broker, then that is what we're using. So how did we get started, and how can you get started within Volvo and outside Volvo? Well, the starter kit that we have is based on Jenkins as code, which is available open source. But what we've added locally is also a Logstash instance, a container running in this Docker Compose network, and a couple of plugins. One of them is the Broadcaster plugin from the community. So if you would like to get hold of this setup and start listening and publishing events, you can find it here within Volvo in the open source development community in these two repositories. You can contact me. If you're not in Volvo, you will have to just add these things yourself. But of course, we can send you the information on how we did it. And this gives you the ability to subscribe and publish quite easily. So if we're interested in finding an event that we want to react on in some way, it could be an artifact that someone created, it could be a source change event that happened somewhere, or something like that. Then we have an excellent team, a metrics team here, that has set up already a Logstash subscriber to the Volvo MX Eiffel exchange, and these messages end up in a database where Elasticsearch makes a GUI that allows us to search in it. So, for example, if I filter for one of our instances and certain event type and the outcome, the conclusion, the result of that. So we get less than 4 hours. We have 1,204 successful views on this instance. And then I can scroll down and see each of them individually. What is that event? Maybe I will look for an artifact or something like that. I can search for whatever event. Anyone at Volvo can look at that. And then you can decide, I'm interested in subscribing to that. So if you would like to subscribe to that, then you can take the JCAS, Jenkins Configuration as Code solution, and you will have to do some configuration changes. The first configuration change is that you will have to add a queue. We looked at auto-generating the queue as a provisioning set. You spin up the instance, then it automatically creates a queue, and then when you spin it down, you take it away. But that wasn't a good thing, because when you don't have a server, you still maybe want a queue, because you want to preserve those messages to be able to act upon it later. So we removed that, and now we have a queue which keeps all our messages. So when we fix whatever the problem is, and we come back online, we didn't miss any step. We can resume as it. We're just slightly delayed, but we can continue. But the configuration changes is needed for you to get your own. You need to add some properties, describe where is the host support, and then what's the name of your instance. There is some more things, the credentials that you will use. And then you have this is automatically set up. So within the Docker Compose network, Logstash will just forward it to Jenkins, and this the JCAS version has the generic web trigger plugin already installed, so you will get it automatically into Jenkins as a payload. And then you will just have to define an expression on this. In this case, we decide to react on a source change event, and when that comes in, we start build. And we generate this from code, but you don't have to. You can type it, but you can do whatever you like. Of course, most generated from code with another plugin that's also included in this JCAS setup. So the Eiffel broadcast, that is the triggering, and if we then look at the publishing part, and the Eiffel broadcast plugin is an excellent plugin from the community. It publishes everything, every build that goes on an Eiffel instance. So we get this automatically. So we get the triggering, we start and the finished. And this is the glue that we work on, making things very simple for us. So for example, here we're publishing an event. I mean, we're sending an Eiffel event with the artifact publish event, and this is linked then to. Sorry, where's my cursor? There. It doesn't. This one is linked then to the artifact created event, and that is here. So the ID of that one is linked. And the activity, it's automatically added because we are already, thanks to the Eiffel broadcaster plugin, we're already in this context. So what we did now was we were linking activity trigger here and here to create this. Because we configured the job to trigger on the source event. And that triggered that was the cause of that activity triggered. We can see how long that time took. We can see which artifact was created and the context of where it was created and when it was published. So from this step, we can just build on the next step. So now we have a published event. So maybe someone is interested in reacting to that. And we have use cases for that also, that we would need to collaborate with other departments that are interested in the artifacts that we could produce. Yeah, thank you. That was a little bit on how we're starting with this. Any questions related to this? Or
Crystal clear. Yeah.
For this triggering part, you mentioned that you can trigger on events,
Yes.
social events also,
Yeah.
for example. That. Would you be able to trigger on a chain of events, multiple events, or is that out of bounds for that?
we haven't started with that, but we're talking to a metrics team about services to be able to combine events and see. And that's the interesting from another discussion that we have with the artifact created and when it's promoted. Maybe we can combine those and see that, okay, we have a published, we have a created, and if we have a new published, a new location, but still the same artifact. That's valuable information. So maybe we can solve that with services, but that's the next step. So we're just starting on the single event reaction, like artifact published and sources created is the only events that we, for now, so far, are caring about. But we see a use case. Yes.
Good. So just an advertisement for tomorrow. There will be a presentation about what we call the Eiffel connector, which is an internal thing in Ericsson, but that does exactly that, combines events together that you can trigger on a series of events.
Thanks.
Nice. Any more? Yeah, Johan has a question.
As usual. Artifactory, do we have any triggers in that one? Created stuff there. I thought you talked about that.
We wish that. And here I think we're on the middle where we are doing a lot of services for other teams and tools to create their artifacts because we need their events. For example, software configurator that I mentioned before. But I think our factory, I don't know if
No,
that is the one.
The system itself is not. We are published when we get to the 200 OK. That's when we send the published. So there's nothing in Artifactory that I know of.
And that's maybe a question to the rest of the community. How, if tools themselves should generate events that now someone have published, I don't know who, but it has been done. Maybe that is too much, I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Just to comment, who should send the event? That was the question.
Yeah.
Where should we send it? So I think as a rule of thumb, you should send it as close to the source of the actual occurrence as possible. So if an artifact is uploaded to Artifactory, then the time would be most reliable if you actually send the event. The timestamp in the event would be most reliable if you send the event within Artifactory. And you can also then provide information about valid links to the source, to the source from where the event was actually sent to get more information if needed. But if that's not feasible in your solution, for example, if you have an SCM system that you might not be able to create a plugin for, then you can instead trigger a Jenkins job or something on that SCM change by some other means, by a webhook, and then you can send the SCM event from that Jenkins job. So send it as close to the source as possible, But if we don't have any possibilities to create a plugin for that specific tool, then send it as soon as possible afterwards.
Given that we should have it in software configurator.
Yes.
Because it is when we have GUI deliveries, that's when we really need that stuff.
Perfect, Johan, you're on the boat. That's awesome.
I think there are two hurdles in doing it in Artifactory. First of all, you don't know the identity of the artifacts. You would just be able to say, here's this file. I don't know anything about it. And secondly, an often forgotten feature about artifacts is that they can contain multiple files. And it's harder if you do it in Artifactory to actually be able to group them, and usually end up in a situation where you just, you would have lots of artifact events that are connected, but that's not visible.
Any more questions? No? We have two interests here. I want to say that you are working a lot with the triggering. Of course, you're interested in monitoring as well. And in the product metrics, we are really interested in the traceability and understanding how it goes to the system. We try to work as close as possible with this together. Because we need events, and then you need the system.